Welcome to the Generation Hustle podcast, a show that explores the world of business, entrepreneurship, and culture, all centered around the millennial. I'm your co-host Sheriston, alongside my good friend Amin, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Aaron Spivak, co-founder of Hush Blankets. Hush is a company with a simple mission: to help people around the world relax with ease and fall asleep faster whenever they wish. Almost every scientific study nowadays indicate that insomnia, stress, and anxiety levels have been on the rise for years. It does not appear to be slowing down at all. Sleep and relaxation are really important to managing these stressors. Hush's weighted blankets apply evenly distributed pressure that is proven to reduce anxiety and cortisol, the stress hormone. This firm, deep pressure stimulation is known as deep touch pressure therapy that essentially acts like a hug. We talked to Aaron about how he started the company with co-founder Lior. He explains their growth strategies, their amazing pitch experience on Dragon's Den, and the science of weighted blanket therapy. So we encourage you to wrap yourself in your coziest blanket and click play to hear more about how Hush's products can help you get better quality rest. And if that blanket you're using isn't cozy enough, maybe you want to check out Hush.
Well, thank you for being part of this, man. I really appreciate it. Obviously, you're running an amazing company, so it's always great I always see your ads on Instagram or Facebook. So, and obviously, Dragon's Den was a huge part of it too. So I thought I'd reach out, and again, really happy to have you on to talk about your experience, talk about how Hush Blankets came about, and just some other general things that come about.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome.
So let's just get into this. Hush Blankets have been around for 3 years now, right? And so really walk us through the opportunity in terms of the moment you and your business partner, Lior, came across the opportunity and what about it appealed to you, right? So when I first think of weighted blankets, I'd never really heard of them until recently. What about that? And where did you find the opportunity exactly?
Yeah. I mean, in 2017, I was running my other business, Revitalize, and Lior was running his software company, Scope Leads, and we were just friends. We had a lot of mutual passions. We were both recent dropouts and stuff like that, and at the time, dropout was a negative thing. It's like you're stupid, you couldn't keep up or whatever, right? Now it's like a little bit cooler. It's like you're dropping out. Oh, what are you doing then?
Exactly.
So when I dropped out and when he dropped out, I mean, you lose a lot of your friends. A lot of your friends, stay in school, they party, they do their thing, and then you're this guy doing something no one understands, right? So we were just friends by association, and both running our business at the time. And then in 2017, I was sitting down with Lior, and he was like, I was building my e-commerce site for Revitalize and stuff, and he was like, dude, there's this product I really want to look into. When I was volunteering at this camp for children with special needs, there was this like amazing blanket there that was like heavy, and it like relaxed me, and like everyone loved it, but like it was small, and like I want to make one for adults. And then so I was like, all right, well, let's look into it. And we did some research, and we actually came across a Kickstarter in the US.
Okay.
That some guy named John something. And it was one of the most aggressive Kickstarter campaigns in history. And it still stands to be one of the most successful in the betting space. And there's been a ton of betting products that were successful on Kickstarter. So to see one kind of come out of nowhere. Right. And it was a weighted blanket. So we bought it, and we did our research, and we realized that he wasn't really selling anything too much different. He was just selling like a generic off-the-shelf weighted blanket, but he was making noise about it that other people weren't able to do. And something cool about weighted blankets is they've been around the technology or the science of deep touch pressure stimulation has been around for almost 100 years, actually over 100 years.
Wow.
1906, there's documented studies done on the use of weight on pressure points.
Right.
So it's nothing new. It's just the utility of it being on your bed and used as a blanket. It was new. And so, once we saw that, and we saw how poor of a product he was selling, but because there was no one else in the space to create that parity, we knew that if we can come out with something that was functioned better and that worked at a higher degree and lasted longer, and we took care of all the common problems, leaky beads, plastic pallets, all that stuff, that we can have a superior product. And then once we have a superior product, we can take to market. And we did that in 2018. We were fortunate enough to make our one sale on day 2, and then another sale on day 3, and then kind of never looked back since then.
Yeah. So talk us about that, like ramp up period where you just mentioned you sold one on the first day, you know, couple in the next day. So what is it like as an entrepreneur early on to, you know, see that progression as sales, and what kind of techniques did you use to kind of in the early days to kind of make that weighted blanket concept much more available in the market in terms of to the consumer?
Yeah, I mean, something so important, I think, for anyone really starting out anything is you want to get some small wins. I find that if you do anything, you know, whether it's even a podcast, right? I mean, if you have 0 listens on your first 10 podcasts, it can be very discouraging to get to do an 11th podcast or a 12, right? And that's with anything. With working out, if you work out for 3 months and you see 0 results, it can be really hard to stay going. So I think it's really important to get small wins, and we were lucky. We got well, that's not that we were lucky. We knew that there was search traffic for weighted blankets, right? It's black and white. There was people searching for it, and there was nothing available. In fact, what there was available was a Kickstarter that wasn't going to deliver in a year, and some Chinese sellers selling direct to consumer.
Yeah.
So there was really nobody in the space. There's 1 or 2 people selling in Canada, and most of them, it was a side hustle. So we did our research. We knew that there was no heavy hitter in the space, and there was market share to be had. So with a superior product and, you know, with buying up some market share, we knew we can get a couple wins. Now, if we didn't make a sale on day 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5, we may have never continued, right?
Right.
So it kind of snowballed. And I remember on day 1 when we made no sales, we had like, I think 2 or 3 abandoned carts. Yeah. And I would call them. I called them up, like, why didn't you buy? Right. And it's like, it's cool to learn. You know, we came in very expensive, you know, and prices is interesting, right? Price is something you earn, you don't own. It's kind of like, you know, if I tried to come out with a Dyson vacuum tomorrow and price it at Dyson pricing, no one would buy it because you might as well just buy the Dyson. They earn that.
Right.
So it was something that we didn't understand in the beginning. We knew we had a better product. You know, even if I came out with a better vacuum than Dyson, you can't just come out and say that. You got to prove it. So we made some adjustments and made 1 sale, 2 sale, 3 sale, and it was hard. It wasn't too easy. But you kind of stack your wins. You chase a day with 2 sales. You chase a day with 3 sales, and you learn and you make iteration and iteration as you go.
Yeah. And so what about the concept about, say, being a dropout, I should say, kind of helped you with the, I say, entrepreneurial side? I know you've been entrepreneur for a while, but, you know, now it's kind of I guess, like you mentioned, a cool thing almost to be like a dropout and be successful. But how did that kind of help you kind of build the business out, having that kind of on your shoulder? Yeah,
I mean, everyone will, when you drop out, everyone's like, well, what's your plan B? What's your plan B? What's going to happen when if it doesn't work out, if your idea doesn't work out? Because that's the odds. And I mean, it's a valid point. I don't think anyone who says that to you is being negative. I think they're giving you the facts of the reality. The reality is you're most likely not going to succeed. You're most likely going to fail. And that's okay too. And I think that understanding is, if you do fail, it doesn't matter. And if you do succeed, it also doesn't matter. I think what separates those who succeed and fail is a million reasons. There's a million reasons why people succeed, and there's a million reasons why people fail.
Yeah.
There's one thing that almost everybody who succeeds has, and it's actually been studied and it's proven, and it's grit. And grit is something that no matter what you do, whether you love, maybe, in school, right? If you fail a couple courses, is that it? You're just going to wrap it up? You're going to drop out, right? So I knew that I had grit, and it wouldn't matter if I dropped out and became that stereotype and failed, because my excuse was like, well, then I'll just get a job at Walmart and just work for 3 years and save up my money and start again.
Yeah.
Because I'm not banking on this venture. I'm banking on myself. I'm banking on the fact that I'll just keep going. I'm not interested in the alternative. And even with school, there's no guarantee you'll even get a job. So there's no guarantee that you'll even like what you think you like now in 4 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever you're doing. There's no guarantee that you'll even like it. I have friends that have their law degree now and they hate law and they're stuck.
Yeah.
Right. And now they're doing something completely different. Not that it was a waste. They got their money's worth. They know things now they don't know before. But to say that one thing is better than the next, the business can fail tomorrow and close down and be left with nothing. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I wish I had a degree. I'm going to sit here and say, okay, well, am I still going to bet on myself? So, that's what it is. And I think that that's the hardest part. And that's the hardest thing to have. And betting on yourself takes a lot of guts, a lot of confidence, right? And to sit here and say that there's never any doubt, that's not true. I mean, we get doubts all the time. Yeah. But the question is how many punches and how tough can you really get? Because as glory as everything looks on the outside in, there's everybody goes through shit all the time, right? Yeah. So being able to battle that is the real thing that separates people, really. I don't think any one person is smarter than the next. I think just one person is willing to go through more shit than the next.
Right. That's spoken like a true entrepreneur, and really respect that, right? Because I think with media now, everyone just, like you said, just sees the success on the outside, but hey, like, Hush Blankets got a deal with Dragon's Den or whatever, but all that stuff you've done before, all the hits and misses that you've had, nobody really knows that. They just see the holistic view of like they're successful or whatnot. So I think that's a great point that you made there. So let's kind of segue into the actual product now. Can you talk us through the benefits of actually using a weighted blanket versus like, say, a traditional blanket?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the science is, the acronym is DTPS, which is deep touch pressure stimulation. Basically what it is, in more simpler terms, is that it puts a small amount of pressure on pressure points throughout your body, and it just naturally relaxes the nervous system. A lot of people will take like melatonin pills and do all these, pharmaceutical remedies to get a good night's rest. And not that those don't work, but they're not necessarily natural. When we relax our nervous system, it actually, the blanket just allows the body to do what it naturally does, which is naturally release serotonin and melatonin. And when you're relaxed, your cortisol levels, which is like our stress-inducing levels, will accompany that. You can't have them both skyrocket. It's just not the way our genetic build is made up. Right. So that's the science behind it. The problem is my first point where I said it's an even amount of weight spread across your body. The problem is a lot of the products today are not evenly distributed. You'll have more weight on your legs than you will on your torso. You'll have more weight on your hip. And that's just because the way they're made, right? Most people will just, the best way to describe it is like to have lay out a sheet and just pour all these beads on it and then lay out another sheet and stitch it. The beads will land where the beads land. If the table is slightly tilted, the more beads will go one way and the other way. And so, the way we manufacture it is we actually manufacture pocket by pocket. So each 5-inch pocket is individually weighed and measured. A lot of people will use something called poly pellets, which is like a plastic bead as the weight. And plastic is toxic, right? So we use a glass micro beads like the size of sand. So it doesn't sound like a rain stick when you're turning at night. Yeah. We've got like 7 different layers of a cotton membrane, which kind of like, the best way to describe it is when you get sand in your socks and like it never gets out of the sock no matter what. Intertwined in the mesh. So we did that with our weight. So the weight doesn't get in the corners of the pockets. There's little things like that. And it's cool to see some other brands starting to make the shift. Like we've seen some cheaper brands move into like some glass options, which is really cool. And we see people starting to take note, but which is good, which is great. We love that. But we're ready working on the next thing. We've got like a zipper tech, which you can't even imagine washing a weighted blanket. It's a nightmare moving that thing around.
Yeah.
So you got to go in there. You got to undo all the ties. So we actually created an inner zipper that you don't feel, but you can see, and you can actually unzip the cover with one zip and throw it in the wash and then rezip it back. Which is actually better than all current duvets out there that you got to tie every single knot.
Wow. Okay.
So we've done a lot of things that just improve duvets in general, but one huge thing was that we wanted the weight distribution to be even no matter what sleep position you sleep in. And then we wanted, our cooling blanket, which many are still, we've seen some people come out with just the color blue and call it cooling, but it's something that we spend a lot of our R&D dollars on. And, we wanted to make a difference for those who sleep hot, because the weighted blanket is a lot of layers, it's a lot of material. Weight doesn't come from air, right? It comes from matter. So we need to put a lot of stuff in the blanket. So to develop one that can be for hot sleepers was something huge for us. And we just released our 2.0, but our 1.0 was our flagship product for over a year.
Right. And so how does that cooling process actually work with a weighted blanket? Because for me, conceptually, I think like you put weight on yourself, you get warmer. So how does that, like the IC 2.0 work?
Yeah, I mean, there's something called latent heat, which is essentially, which is why your sweater is warm, and your Under Armour or Lululemon sports shirt is cool.
Right.
There's certain fabrics that hold on to heat better than others.
Okay.
So our classic is like a plush, we call it minky, which is like a faux mink, and it holds on to heat better. It keeps you warm.
Right.
It's very cozy. Our 1.0 was a fabric that we actually developed, which was a mix between spandex, cotton, and bamboo. And so it had some stretch to it. It was naturally cooling because it allowed spandex holds on to cold particles. It doesn't hold on to heat particles. Heat particles can travel through it. So it was a low latent heat. And then it stretched. So actually, we made it slightly smaller than the blanket. So when the blanket went in, it would stretch it out just a little bit. And that would create these little holes in it. So it would allow for air to pass through.
Oh, okay.
So it was actually, you wouldn't be freezing all night, but it was kind of like any move you'd make would be a colder section of the bed, right? Your body will naturally heat up the spot, but heat will pass through.
Right. Okay.
Which was something we wanted. In our 2.0 fabric, the reason why we made the switch is because our 1.0 spandex, although it's a great fabric and pretty much every sporting goods company in the world will use it, it's not supernatural, and it's essentially plastic. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want to continue that. We didn't think it was healthy long term, and it provided a lot of issues for those who were drying the products. Even air dry, if you put it in the sun, it would spandex doesn't respond well to heat. So we developed a completely organic fabric for 2.0. It's made of 100% viscose bamboo, which is literally straight out the plant. And we actually put a hand finish on it, which means, as you can imagine, a tree is rough, and to get it all the way to a soft fabric is you have to essentially grind it out. And a lot of it is machine done, obviously, but we actually hand finish it, which puts a feel onto it that is super, super soft, almost feels like silk. And it stays cool all night long because bamboo is naturally cooling.
Yeah.
And it's antibacterial, which is important. Not for viruses or anything like that, but people don't wash their sheets and their pillows as much as they should. So we just give people a longer gap between each wash, and then less washes means a longer lifespan, and the entire product is just significantly better.
Right. I mean, it's a good time as ever now to kind of market the antibacterial part of it. But yeah, no, you have a really cool way of innovating the product itself, because product-led growth is really hard, and a lot of companies struggle with that. But your approach has been like little improvements here and there, whether it's the gels, the gel spheres, or the beads. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. The beads kind of moving around, or if it's the heating and cooling, like you've considered every other aspect of it. But in terms of growing the brand and the business itself, can you talk to us about the strategies that you've employed to grow that company from that standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, growth is interesting because there's so many different ways to grow a business. There's so many different models to support growth. We're completely bootstrapped. I mean, on the show, it looks like we took a deal, but that deal never really panned out. And we've been using our money, right? You run a billboard for whatever it costs. As a founder, it's either your money or you reinvest it, you put it into something, and you hope to make some sort of multiple on it for the business. Right. So for us, we take the approach that we are not the business and the business is not us. So when we took that approach, a lot of people will do math. They'll see the sales for the day. If they make $1,000, then they'll say, $500 is marketing cost, and then if you have two founders, then $500 is profit, and $250 for you, $250 for me, and they do the math. They times that by 30.
Yeah,
they do this whole thing, and they're like, "Oh, mom, I'm making $30,000 a month, or whatever." They do this whole thing, right? And that's because they attach themselves to the financials of the business,
right?
And that's a very scary time, because that's when you start making personal decisions around the business decisions, and the business decisions can't be personal. They need to be what's right for the business at that time. So something for us is that we're not super eager to be insanely profitable every single day.
Yeah,
we want to be profitable because we're bootstrapped and we don't have a runway. We need to be profitable every single day, but at the same time, we understand that in 5 years from now, it's somewhere where we want to be, and in order to do that, we need to acquire customers and we need to take care of our current customers. So our model is kind of hybrid, where we're super focused on attaining new customers and having them join what we're all about and believe in our mission and trust us and trust our products. But at the same time, we spend a ton of effort maintaining our current customers. Right. We don't sell a consumable where you can eat us every day, every week, which is much easier for those businesses. We sell a product that we essentially assure you that you're not going to need again for a long time. Yeah. So it's important for us to build that relationship, because when we build supplementary products, on Monday, we're launching our pillow we've been working on for 14 months. And, those people are going to buy the pillow on Monday are going to be our existing happy and trustworthy customers, right?
Right.
And that's a testament to the relationship we've been able to build with them. So it's kind of a candle that burns at both ends, where we are chasing new customers because that is a lever of growth that we believe in, but we are nurturing our current customers. And that is kind of the game. And that's the sleep space. And that's why you see so many bed in a boxes coming out, and you see so many pillow companies and all that. And the ones who will be around in 5 to 10 years are the ones who have the deepest loyalty with their brands, right? I know people who sell, pillows on Amazon. They do quite well. They make great money, but ultimately they don't have any rapport with their customers because Amazon doesn't allow that.
Yeah.
So they're essentially just constantly acquiring new customer after new customer after new customer after new customer, and at any given moment, that can end. So it's a little bit scary. So what we know is that as we grow, we are pushing the envelope. We are investing into the ads that you mentioned you saw in the beginning. But at the same time, we're also nurturing our current customers and kind of want to grow both ways. And it is an insane growth, and we are growing very fast. But at the same time, we try to take it slow.
Right. For sure. Yeah. And that's a really good holistic approach to kind of viewing your customers and that relationship there, especially because you mentioned the risk of like an Amazon and atmosphere where you're kind of dependent on new customers every so often. So another area of the business that we've noticed that you're really, the company's doing well with is the social presence. So I wanted to talk about that, whether it's the social media presence with Facebook and Instagram. You've spoken about de-risking yourself from that dependence in terms of marketing on specific platforms. So can you talk to us about that strategy that you have within the company in terms of how you manage your brand strategy online and how you approach new platforms such as TikTok or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. We talk about social media and our presence almost every day. Right. It's organic social is so important for us. A lot of people don't love it because they're chasing likes and follows and comments and all that stuff.
Vanity metrics.
Yeah, I mean, and the metrics are important. But for us, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, whether we get 1,000 profile visits a day or 10,000 profile. It doesn't matter. The reality is that if we get one visit a day, we want it to be a visit that understands what we're about at first glance. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. It is hard because, like I mentioned, we're chasing new customers, we're talking to old customers, or building rapport. So it is difficult, but where if you go through our feed, you'll see so many different styles and actions and videos and it's we don't think we have it figured out yet. I think that's the truth. I think we're testing, we're learning, we're getting better, definitely better now than we were a few months ago. And new platforms like TikTok, we kind of just been messing around on there. We haven't taken like a manscape approach where they're super aggressive with their marketing, but that's an unlimited budget it's an unlimited budget plan, so they can, testament to them. I mean, they have one of the most incredible teams, right? So as you grow the business, you bring on certain talent that can do things. I don't think that we have every platform figured out. We're quite good on Facebook. We're quite good on Instagram. That's probably it. I mean, we have a really good Pinterest account actually, which has been great for us. Our Jess, who runs our Pinterest, is like, she loves Pinterest, so she's so good. She's so involved, right? And that's another thing that's important, right? When new platforms come about, like TikTok and like Thriller will become, and Insta Reels, which not even everybody has yet. It's important that you dive in and you expose yourself and create platform-specific content, which is really important. One of my biggest pet peeves is when someone takes an Instagram post and then posts it on Facebook and LinkedIn and everything else in between, as if it's contextual to the platform, and it's not. So it's important that those who are posting on the platform spend time on it and understand it and knows what moves and what doesn't move. And that's kind of where people get their blocks and people get their breakthroughs, is right through that.
Right. And that's a great philosophy as well, because I feel like a lot of companies don't understand the contextualizing your message where depending on the platform. And so you guys seem very open to experimenting with new methodologies that could or could not work. And so that's what brings me to my next point here, with something that you guys did recently. I think it was close to the end of last year, where you guys switched entirely from email to SMS marketing. So can you talk to us about that shift and kind of how that's been for you over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, SMS is huge for us, and I think it's going to be huge for everybody. At one point we shut off all email. We didn't really pick that up, but we're back to it. We do collect emails because we understand that not that necessarily it has a different conversion rate or different open rate, but people are more willing to give you their email as opposed to their phone number. And that's because they check their phone more than they check their email, and they don't have filters on it. So it makes sense. I love SMS. I think it's so powerful if it's done right. I'm worried about brands who are misusing it and potentially ruining it for everybody. I think people are just trying to make as much money as possible and not really care about their customer. We spend a lot of money not only sending these SMS blasts, because it's quite expensive when compared to email, but we spend a lot of money on having people there live to have these contextual conversations with people.
Right.
And it's, I'm a huge believer in conversational marketing because that's what it is. I mean, the fact that someone's willing to talk to you is huge. I mean, for me, I always take it back to day one where we had 2 abandoned carts, and odds that they even responded to my call or text was relatively 0 or 1 maybe.
Right.
And now we have people, thousands of people a day responding and trying to have conversations with us, whether it's about an existing product or trying to find a size for the new product or this. They have all these questions. Having someone there to respond is vitally important.
Right.
And this is the main reason why Amazon is they have the best customer service in the world, right? They give people the confidence, and they've been able to stack that for years and years and years. And now you can't touch their shipping, you can't touch their service. Every small brand that comes into the space, they essentially ruined it for everybody because nobody can compete.
Right.
So it's because they found a way to build a contextual relationship with their customers that is outside of just the products that they sell, right? If you buy anything from Amazon, you don't like it, just ship it back. You don't have a concern in your you don't have, not even for 1 second would you second guess what would happen if you didn't like the product.
Right.
Right.
So that is the foundation of their model, and that's the reason they are who they are.
For sure. It's that customer feedback, and that translates into their customer service, and it's just that back and forth relationship.
And trust, right? How do you build trust with people you've never met before, or you don't know their family or their dad or their mother and whatever, all these lies that we tell ourselves. Oh, this guy would never do that to me because I know his dad for 20 years, all these things are what builds trust. You go to a mechanic that your friend used because your friend recommends them, and you're like, well, my friend wouldn't lie to me. And you go there and you roll the dice and you have this guy do the work. It's the same thing that happens at every single level, right? You go to a restaurant, your friend says, hey, I love this dish. You're going to order the dish because it's just at every level, it all comes down to trust.
Right.
And building that, would you rather buy from, a random person online that you've never met before, or would you buy from us where I can respond to you in real time and let you know what's up?
Right.
And even if mine is more expensive, you'd spend the extra $20 to have some level of trust and reassurance.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, really.
For sure. Yeah. That trust and credibility is the biggest aspect of securing that relationship and having that repeat customer. So on the flip side, can you talk to us about maybe what has been difficult for you guys in terms of the hardest part of growing the brand itself?
Yeah. For us, you can Google Osh Blankets review and you'll see. I call it champagne problems, but we've had such a difficult time keeping products inventory up.
Right.
We've had customers wait months to get product.
Right.
In fact, a lot of our conversational marketing is about, okay, cool, I'm going to order, but when am I going to get this?
Right.
Because there's like an aura around our brand that if you order, you're not going to get it for a while. And so it's champagne's problems because it's nice to always be sold out, right? It means people are buying your product, but it's a problem because people should be able to order and get it within a few days.
Yeah.
And that's our biggest block. And, we just launched on Amazon, I think a week ago or so. And, our sales started skyrocketing on Amazon. And in my head, I'm like, that's for no other reason than the fact that people are like, I know I can get it for sure if I order it from Amazon than if I order from them.
Right.
And we ship from the same place, right? We do FBM, which is merchant fulfillment. And it literally comes to the same computer, the same printer. There's no difference whether you order from our site, order from Amazon. But we've seen people shift to order from Amazon because there's some aura like, oh, if I order it there, I'll get it. And that's a testament to our reputation. So we're definitely not perfect, but that's really what it is. It's an expensive product. I have people will be like, oh, I saw a weighted blanket at Walmart for $25 or whatever. Like,
It's not the same.
you know what I mean? Just the packaging on my product is like $8 to $10.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like you can probably buy four Walmart blankets for the cost on like our cheapest product, right? So it's the same reasons. The same guy who would say that to me is the same guy who I would say, well, why don't you buy the running shoes from Walmart? Why are you wearing Nikes?
Right.
Oh, well, the Nikes are better and they last longer and that. Well, it's the same thing. So, like they sell running shoes. Why are you not buying those? So exactly. It's the same thing. And it's tough. It's a tough thing because you miss out on so much when you don't have inventory. Our sheets arrived yesterday. We've had people who was looking at the orders going out. We had people who waited 8 months for them.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think I would wait 8 months for anything. Like nothing could probably. I don't even know where I'll be in 8 months, let alone have a product arrive, and let alone be sheets. So, I think that's a testament to people truly believing in what we're all about. I wanted these sheets hand shone as well. I wanted them hand packaged. I wanted them handmade. Takes forever, but I just didn't want something off the shelf. I'm not a believer in selling products that I wouldn't personally use myself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you can imagine what my closet looked like, I have enough sheets to feed it. I think I just donated all of them actually too, but it was like massive. I had like every pair and every color you could think of because I just didn't want a basic sheet. And we sent them all out on Friday, and just today we're just getting some of our feedback coming in, which is really awesome to see. So, I mean, there's no perfect way to do it, but that's kind of been our story so far.
Right. And what kind of steps have you taken since then, kind of to learn to have maybe a better fulfillment process? Because that's a learning process for many new businesses that are starting out. Mm-hmm. And just coming from the finance world, having dealt with inventory myself, a lot of people don't know how hard supply chain actually is. It's really damn hard.
It's so hard. We've got the software. We've got everything. We tried the FBA. We're doing FBA now. We just sent out a container there. It depends. It really depends on what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. From a supply chain aspect, we should cut SKUs. We should simplify, and then we should just order more. Allocate the funds to the products that are making you the most amount of money. That's the supply chain model. That's what any logistics experts will tell you. But we don't necessarily care. We want the brand and the products to serve a purpose and a mission, right? I'd rather you wait a month to get something that will last you 10 years than you wait 3 days to get something that'll sit in your closet in a month.
Yeah.
So, that is our mentality. Now, at the same time, because we're bootstrapped, we couldn't order millions and millions of dollars worth of inventory to sit on it, right? The cash conversion cycle needs to be there. You need to, the product needs to come in and then it needs to go. Can't sit forever. We've got 30,000 square feet here. If our products don't move fast enough, we're going to run out of space. So there's from a logistics aspect, the only thing that makes sense in what we're doing, and we're not doing it on purpose. I mean, I don't want to ever be in pre-order. We've just been growing at a rate where, the 65 days that it takes to produce a product and get it here, in those 65 days, we're growing faster than we could have calculated.
Right.
So, the software says, well, you had 10,000, you'll need to order 2,000. And then you order the 2,000 within those 30 days, it factored in that you double, but you 4x'd. And now you have half as much on the way, and then it sells out before it even arrives.
Right.
So it's not necessarily, I think if numbers regulate slightly, it'll be easier. Mm-hmm. We doubled our Q4 order than what the software said. And we got a Sport Check PO last week that pretty much took up 45% of that inventory. Right.
Yeah.
Now what? So, there's so many things that can happen, and I call them champagne problems because that's not a bad thing. It's just the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and it's the reason why we don't discount as heavily as others. It's the reason why we don't sell. We don't do these. I saw one of our only competitors in Canada actually do a liquidation sale last week, and probably because he's coming out with a new product, but we don't do stuff like that. I don't. I'm not interested in these tactics. Like, if I bought something for $100 and then even in a year they start selling it for 50, I'm never buying anything from that person ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like buddy sells you something and then he sells your other buddy for half price. And you're like, I'm not ever talking to you again. That was all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And brands,
We've all been there. Yeah.
and we're just not interested in that. We're so confident in our product and our merchandise that I'm not interested in chasing numbers. Not that the numbers aren't important; they are important, but we're really about making a difference in people's lives. That's what it really is. You know, our biggest joy is not hitting a revenue target or a profitability or an EBITDA. Our biggest joy is getting 15,000 reviews of people who've never had sleep like they're getting now.
Yeah.
Or, these messages that we get of, haven't slept in 7 years and now I can finally sleep, or, couples who are claiming it's saving their relationship because the other person was ruining their sleep forever and stuff like that. They're just so, and that's what we're about. That's what we're doing. We're a sleep brand. We want to actually change 1 million people's sleep. We're like 15% of a little bit more, 18% of the way there. And that's it. And that's our mission. I love when, people, if I'm somewhere or they'll DM me or whatever. I love when they DM me and say, hey, like, this is the best thing I ever had. Like, that's what we're about. And, I'm not going to post our Shopify or our revenue numbers on LinkedIn and say, seek some inspiration. That's not our thing. It's not what we're about. We can double our sales next year and it's not going to change anything, or our sales can go up 10% or 50%. It's not going to matter. What matters is what our product's doing for people and how we can expand that.
Right.
And so one of the coolest things that you guys do at Hush is you actually donate for every 5 blankets that you sell. You donate 1 piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what you've probably mentioned this a bit earlier there, but what's the component of that business part that is so important to your brand?
Yeah, I mean, our founding idea was developed at a camp for children with special needs where Lior was donating at. So it's kind of like the foundation of everything that we do came from supporting the cause, supporting some sort of cause. And we were just donating, essentially. We get all these like mistaken orders, or people order the wrong size and they send it back, and there's completely unused blankets, but they have labels on the box. And it was when we first started, we didn't have the means to buy new boxes and stuff, so we had all these blankets that were brand new but not in perfect resale condition, and we couldn't restore them. So we were like, we might as well start donating these. And it really started to take off. We started building these amazing relationships with so many different charities. We do these give back runs where we haven't done one during COVID, but before COVID, we were renting these trucks and going from charity to charity and loading them up and giving them all these product. We had a great partnership with Desjardins after the Dragon's Den, and they've been a huge help in supporting our program and what we're all about. It's become a huge backbone of our brand, and nowadays we're donating, probably close out the year at $1 million worth of product.
Wow.
Yeah.
To almost 700 different charities just in Toronto. We do a ton of stuff with the youth. It's we just did a deal with the TDSB.
Wow.
A ton of low income schools in the area that kids are either in shelters or they have no means to proper bedding whatsoever. And a lot of beds that get donated from these mattress in a box companies that just get these returns are queen size. Queen size is the most popular bed, and they don't fit a lot of these kids' rooms. It's usually single or double. So we've been able to provide them means to get a proper sleep and proper blankets and stuff like that. There's a ton of shelters in Toronto. Toronto housing crisis is absolutely insane. It's on the brinks of being worse in New York. And the government is setting up these tents, so they're sleeping on the floor. So traditional blanket's not really going to do much good for you. Ours is thick and something you can wrap yourself in, and it's warm and reliable. So they've been a huge ask for those. We just donated yesterday. I think it was 13 or 14 pallets worth of blankets and stuff like that. It's a huge part of what we do, and we're huge believers in truly making a difference. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter about again, the economics are important, and it's what runs the business. And without economics, and without customers, and without all that, none of this would be possible. But we also understand that money really isn't everything, right? So
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's what we're about.
Yeah, and that's a great perspective, and we want to know more about that as well, because from the podcast itself, we are trying to get involved in more social causes. And so, from your experience with all of this, can you provide any kind of advice in terms of when a brand is trying to associate with these social causes, what steps they should make or they should take in order to be truly, in fact, impactful with what they're doing, rather than as an example, we find a lot of brands that just try to kind of use philanthropy as like a marketing tool, right? But like in terms of making sure that your campaign or whatever it is that you're doing is actually impactful, like what kind of steps do you guys do or do you take that you would suggest?
Well, people are using whatever they learned in school, right? CSR. Oh, what company has their social? I mean, you have to have for us, our give back program is like a non-negotiable. We don't even track the numbers on it.
Right.
We track how much we donate because we set up these goals and stuff, and they're fun, but we never want to say we're spending too much here. We need to scale back.
Right.
And we don't necessarily make it the backbone of our promotion.
Right.
If you go on our website, it's not on the homepage. It's not everything that we promote about. We don't even have ads that promote about our give back program.
Yeah.
And I think when brands do that, it gives people the impression that they're only doing this because they want me to feel a certain way about their brand.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't even include it in our welcome flows and stuff like that. It's something that's there if you want to learn.
Right.
And in our new website, we'll have a learn page where people can click it and they can learn about it. But it's not necessarily about making that about the noise. It's something that our team here believes in, and it's what we do. And I feel like if you're going to do something, do it for the right reasons. For us, if it helps us sell a couple more products, great. And if it doesn't, great.
Mm-hmm.
We're not tracking the impact. We're not tracking what it does for us. We're not tracking if people came to us because of A, B, C, and D. So I guess the real answer is if you're doing it for the right reasons, then it's not going to matter. Our KPIs around it are not how big of a difference are we making from a PR standpoint. It's more of about how many did we donate? Cool. Let's move on. Our deal with the TDSP now was really cool. It's going to cost us like a couple $100,000 for the product, but for us to have the TDSP approve our blanket over all the other resources was pretty awesome. So
for sure,
we'll take it.
And as a sleep brand, like I feel like even though these donations are helping, even if you take a step back holistically, you are providing that good value and good service because as a consumer, we're being helped, whether it's with anxiety or sleep issues and anything like that. And then just from the donation standpoint, it's like you're providing good in every area that you're involved in. So I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So I think that's, Sheriston made a great point there, and Aaron, you made a great point there. But one of the things I also want to talk about is your experience on Dragon's Den. So, how did that come about, first off? And you were I think you were the first team to ever get deals from all 5 dragons, I believe it was. So what was the experience like?
Honestly, it was great. The den was super cool. It was our, it was one of those things where you don't quite understand the impact until you do it.
Right.
And it was a good opportunity for us to expose what we're all about. And that was our mission. The fact that we, broke a record and getting our evaluation increased on live television, the fact that we got an offer from all the dragons at once, that was cool. And not something you can plan for and not something that you can expect. But for us going into it, our goal was just so, whether we leave with a deal, without a deal, with it being a cool episode or not a cool episode or whatever, our goal was, if you're watching, at least in the 5 minutes that they'll show, do our best to just let people know what we're about.
Right.
And our highlights were what makes us different, a little bit about who Lior and I were, and a little bit about our brand. And that's really what we wanted to do. And it turned out being quite cool. I mean, if you watch the episode, I'm sure you did, it's like wild. So it turned out to be incredible. But the experience was, how can we go in and speak to the cameras behind the people in the den, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's 30,000, 100,000 people watching you live. You have an opportunity to speak to that amount of people at once, and that was our goal. And it turned out to be really cool. And it really helped our business, really.
Yeah. And so talk to us about that business growth. So obviously there's a huge audience watching the show. Did you see kind of an instant impact on your top line once you aired it? And like, were you kind of ready for that uptick once the show aired?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we knew, the producers were kind of letting us know that, we didn't get to see the episode. We saw it live for the first time with everybody else. And we spoke with the Dragons in the Den for like 45 minutes, and they're going to cut it into a 5-minute episode.
Right. Okay.
They could have used whatever they wanted to use. We had no idea what they were going to say.
Yeah.
And that's part of the whole Den thing, right? But the producer was kind of giving us hints saying, hey, like, I've been doing this for 13 years. Your episode is one of the craziest episodes we've ever done. It's going to be insane. So we had quite a little bit of insight that it was going to be good, and it was going to be fun to watch. We prepared as much as possible from an inventory perspective. We loaded up our CS team. We were ready. In hindsight, we weren't ready at all. Our website essentially crashed right after the episode.
Wow.
We sold out of all of our Christmas inventory within that week and the week after that. And our CS team was 4 days behind on getting back to messages. So this was 18. They went from like a couple hundred messages a day to like 1,800 messages a day.
Wow.
Unmanageable. So it was, it really propelled things, but it set us up for an awful Christmas because many people didn't get their gifts on time because we couldn't manage that. So but it was kind of a blessing in disguise because we've been able to really connect with a lot more Canadians, build a lot of rapport, and it actually forced us to get our own warehouse because our 3PL couldn't handle it anymore, and they were making way too many mistakes, sending people the wrong products and stuff. So I'm actually, in our warehouse right now. We've doubled it as an office on the front end, and do our own fulfillment, and for many, many, many Canadians, pretty much all the way until, I think, other than Saskatchewan and the Northern Territories, we can beat Amazon fulfillment time. So it's really helped us build our brand identity and force us to make moves that, I don't think a lot of people can name another direct-to-consumer brand, at least in Canada, that's doing their own fulfillment.
Yeah, no, I think they always use 3PLs as a main tool to lever. So Aaron, that kind of finalizes like the heavy weight of the podcast, I would say, just in context of blankets. But we always love to do this little lightning round at the end, just to get a little bit more about you. So I'm going to let Sheriston lead that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to throw some questions at you, and the first answer that comes to mind, let us know. So first off here, can you tell us maybe your favorite book or movie of all time?
The Culture Code. And I forget who. Dan Coyle, maybe? I think it's Dan Coyle. Culture Code. Dan Coyle, yeah. One of the best books. I'm actually reading it for the third time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to have to check this out. In terms of from the business itself, can you tell us about your best or most memorable customer feedback that you've received?
Yeah, actually I can. I think I posted it on my LinkedIn actually. But there was during when the pandemic hit, there was I grew up in Thornhill, and there's like a community Facebook group,
Right.
and there's a ton of there's a huge low income subdivision within the community that a lot of people around the community try to support as best as possible through all these different initiatives and stuff like that. But I'm a part of that group too, and there was essentially a family where it was a single mother, and her daughter suffers from I think she's on the spectrum. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but to make this quick, she needs a lot of support, and we actually sent her a blanket. We're like, well, what can we do? We can send the child a blanket as best as possible. Already doing all the other stuff, and we didn't really think much of it. She'll get a blanket, she'll enjoy it, and hopefully it'll help. But she sent us a really cool email where we had no idea that her daughter, I think she was 12 or whatever, her daughter actually wanted a hush really badly. She was bothering her forever, but the hushes are quite expensive. She couldn't afford it. And when this blanket arrived at her door, she actually called us and said, "Hey, you made a mistake. There was like can't be for us," because there was no name for the. We didn't have a name for the daughter or anything, but we knew the address because from within the community we knew where she lived. We sent to her, so she tried to return it because she thought she got it by accident. And we're actually like, "No, this is for you. We're giving this to you." And she's like, "Oh, it's like for my daughter," and her daughter actually wouldn't be able to sleep for more than 2 hours. And as then you can imagine, any parent what their life can be like if their kid can't sleep, then they can't sleep. It affects everything in your day. And then we're like, "Hey, listen, if you try it, if you don't like it, you can send it back or give it away. We'll do whatever you want." And she got back to us and said that after a week, she got back to us, and her daughter's actually been able to sleep 8 hours.
Wow.
And it's changed her life because now she can sleep. And actually we didn't know, but she actually wasn't able to work because her daughter was constantly awake, and she actually got fired from her job. She was able to get her job back. We've been in close contact with them now, but it was super cool to see that, just a couple more hours of sleep changes an entire household. So that's been our coolest form of feedback so far.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I'm not sure how often or how much you've shared this story, but you can expect a jump in sales from this, just because I think a lot of parents are trying to put their kids to sleep in quarantine right now. So
it's, especially now with the elections, I think Aura, the Ring, released that Americans lost 1.8 billion hours of sleep in the last 4 days.
Wow.
So, sleep is foundational. So definitely.
For sure. So last couple of questions here. First off, if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? It's your dream dinner guest.
That would be alive, and it would be Jeff Bezos for sure. I'd love to see what's going on in that maniac's head.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
And lastly, this is the most controversial question on our podcast. Do you enjoy pineapple on your pizza?
No. Will I eat a pizza with pineapple on it? Yes. Would I order a pizza with pineapple on it? No, definitely not.
Great. Okay, fair.
But I love grilled pineapples.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so for all the no's, we go with the downs or out of the grilled pineapple.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm personally no. I'm good with grilled pineapple or pineapple.
Grilled pineapple is like that, like cinnamon.
With a bit of cinnamon on it? Yeah, exactly.
I just love all pineapple, so I don't mind it on a pizza. I'm good.
Yeah, that's true.
Aaron, awesome. Thank you so much. We enjoyed this, and we're looking forward to kind of to see where your brand is going. I'm looking to grab myself a blanket as well. So
awesome.
Hopefully we can get that going.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, Aaron.